I have waited a very long time for this moment.
Hi, little man. Oh! Oh!
Over the last almost 4 years of raising Banksy since birth, I have prepared for this through how I've cared for him and how I've handled and trained him. His day-to-day life living out in a field with his friends 24/7 has been a huge part of creating the horse that he is today, and his life experiences that we introduced to him early on have been a huge role of creating the horse he is now. All of that experience has come together to help make my eventual goal of starting him under saddle tackless a possibility. So after lots of years of work at the mounting block and getting him comfortable with stuff like being bellied over on and all sorts of things around the farm, I figured he was ready for me to have a first little sit on him, so we practiced even more. I'd bellied over on him a few times over the winter, but he'd never actually had a rider fully sit on him until this moment. This was his very first time having a rider sit on his back in any capacity, and I attribute his calmness to all of the work I did before making the mounting block a quiet rest place for him and really reinforcing the standing still behavior and just getting him used to the sensation of a rider getting up and down off of his back. I keep my sessions quite short, like 10 to 15 minutes, so the expectations are quite low and I just want him to be a good boy and have a good time.
You one-legged bandit.
Come around.
Good boy. Wow. Wow.
In the beginning, when I'm shaping behaviors, I reinforce frequently, and this would happen whether or not I was training him with positive reinforcement like in this video, or if I decided to do it with pressure and release. Regardless of whatever reinforcer I used, I would be reinforcing very frequently in the beginning shaping steps.
That was really good. I've never moved with him. Sometimes when they do their first step, they'll just go off because it's jarring and scary. So that's really good that he did it that calmly. I can definitely tell that he's like not like completely okay with the situation, but he was just about to go back to his food. That's why I clicked and reworded it. Go slow. Let's see how this works. Good boy.
Now, since I'm training him with positive reinforcement and not pressure and release, the way I have to introduce pressure cues and movement is by using a target and then linking pressure cues to the use of the target.
I'm very impressed with him.
I'm freaking out.
Good boy.
Oh my god.
You're an angel. I elbowed him getting down though. Oh, realistically, there's no incentive for them to want us to ride them. So all this food right now is just to make it the best thing ever, and then he's gonna be like, wow, this is great. I really like doing this. That was very, very good. That was very, oh, is that good spot?
Excellent, young man. Good boy. Good guy. Yeah, he's so itchy right now. We should... So overall, these 3 sessions have really only been about 35 minutes of work because I want to keep his sessions short and easily digestible so that he has the utmost success, and also so that he's not working too hard or being expected to pack weight for extended periods of time. On this day's session, my priority is going to be to use the target stick to start to teach him the pressure cues that will then resemble regular ridden aids, so like neck rope, pressure, etc. So I'm just practicing with the target stick before, and then this is how I get him to line up at the mounting block for me. I do like having the wheelbarrow there because it allows him to snack if he gets bored, and he can redirect his attention there if he gets nervous at all. So I find it's just providing him with another outlet for any uncertainty that he might feel. And it also allows me to throw treats in there if I don't want to have him reach around every time that I want to reinforce him. So I found it to be really good because the standing still behaviors and the more boring behaviors tend to be the most difficult for him to do because he loves doing movement-based behaviors. But standing still and having to do boring stuff, there's less incentive for him to do it unless I provide it. So I always start off with a high reinforcement rate, especially since the sensation of having me on his back at this point is still pretty unfamiliar and he's still building his confidence with it. So basically with the neck rope cues, I'm applying pressure on his neck, but I'm using the target stick to actually initiate the movement, and then I'm clicking and rewarding the second he moves, and then releasing the pressure at the same time just to link the pressure-based cue to his already learned behavior that is following the target. So that's all I'm doing. It's not a pressure and release trained behavior because what's actually eliciting the movement response from him is the hand target or my target stick, not the pressure itself. So the pressure is just a secondary sensation that he's then going to learn to associate with the act of moving sideways because that's how I'm pairing it with these cues. So yeah, the process is all very simple, and I was super happy with how he took to it and how calm he was because he really didn't set a foot wrong at all. So I'm really excited to see how he continues to progress. If you're interested in seeing full tutorials, you can check out my Patreon at the link in my bio.